Ask and you shall receive. Everybody wanted to see some of the secrets behind what made Tom Hutton so special at Oklahoma State University. Well, I think we might have somebody that can help bridge that gap for us right around the corner.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things cowboy and cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I'm going to be the host today as we take this fun little ride. Yes, I want to appreciate all of you stopping by to making this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State, available on every single podcasting platform as well as YouTube. Today, we have a special guest. When I was talking recently about the recruiting class, yes, you hear some people give their negative bullcrap, which is fine. Whatever. People can be negative Nancy's all they want to. But what I talked about was filling specific needs. And when you fill a specific need, traditionally speaking, if everything around that goes well, you're going to be fine. So talking about filling a specific need, we needed somebody to come in and help battle a little bit with Logan Ward. The loss of Tom Hutton was something that we noticed after he got injured. So everybody in Cowboy Nation, please help me welcome in our new punter from down under, Hudson Kaak. How are you doing, brother man?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem, brother. So I see you rocking the O State gear. That's good. They got you swagged out already. I dig it.
Yeah, no, I came over for a visit, and funny story actually. When we landed in Oklahoma, they lost our baggage. So we didn't have any clothes for the first day and a half of the 3-day visit. So we had to go down to the post store and stock up on some fresh clothes. So that's how we ended up with all this.
Bro, I say it works out well. Hopefully next time I fly to Stillwater, I lose all my stuff and I get hooked up like that. That would be a nice thing to have. So, yeah. Granted, yes, you coming in is going to help fill a need very, very, very well. Not that Logan Ward is having, difficulties, but the Australian side of things, it is a little bit different, right? Because you guys, after you go through your high school area of time, then it's more like you become a professional, if that makes any sense, right? Because you are going through pro kick to perfect kicking the ball on a daily basis, hours a day, every day, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So no, you're fine. How common is it that when people get done playing their high school career in Australia, how many people want to end up playing football in America, or is it still something that's a fairly small percentage?
It's still something that's growing over here. Like American football is definitely becoming more and more popular, but it's not huge. So we have Aussie rules football, and that is huge. Like we get 100,000 to the game. Like everything in Melbourne, especially in Victoria, is based around AFL. So that's huge. But we don't really go through a high school system of playing football with your school. It's not affiliated, so you just play like local for your local town, if that makes sense, or your local area. So usually once you've finished your junior career, you just go on and play domestic level as a senior if you're not playing at the higher level. So we have AFL and VFL, which are the two top tier sort of professional competitions, and then the rest is just you go play for your local level, basically just with your mates. So it's not extremely common to make the switch to punting, but at the same time, obviously punting's a very difficult sort of job if you like making that transition from kicking the ball that we kick all the time to the American football. So if it was easy, everyone would do it, but it's one of those things that it is growing, but it's still a pretty difficult transition to make.
So, what about you specifically? What made you decide I would like to go play American football and give this thing a shot?
Well, it was always on the back of my mind. People had always sort of said, because I've had a relatively big kick on me. People have always said, "Oh, you should go, try and go to college and play football as a punter." And I'd always sort of thought maybe one day, but never really given it much research or anything on how to go about it. And then one of my friends who I played Aussie rules football as a junior with got a scholarship to Boise State.
Okay.
So he had made the transition, and I saw that, and then one thing led to another. It made me a bit more interested, and then I sort of got in contact with Pro Kick and came down to tryouts and all that sort of thing. And then, one thing led to another, and 12 months later, here we are.
Okay. So whenever you look at American football, right, is there anything about it that you look at and just doesn't think that makes a lot of sense?
I'm still learning the game a lot. And every time I watch more college football, you learn a bit more. But even the whole the conferences and all that sort of stuff is a fair bit to wrap your head around, because there's so many teams in Australia. Our competition, pardon me, our competition only has 18 teams, so you're all in the one conference, and it's like, and it's very straightforward. There's no like interconference playing or playoffs or anything like that. It's pretty much you all play each other throughout the season, and then the top 8 make finals. It's pretty simple. So that side of things has been a bit to sort of get my head around with the conferences and the divisions and like Power 5, Group 5, all that sort of stuff. But I'm learning. But I came in pretty raw. Like I didn't really know much about football at all. My Pro Kick coach at my first training said, "Oh, how much do you know about the game? Like, do you watch the game much?" And I was like, "Oh, I've seen Tom Brady highlights on YouTube. That's about it." So I was pretty fresh, but we're getting there.
Okay. Now, can being fresh, as it may, can that sometimes maybe be a benefit because you don't have anything negatively working to fix?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a benefit to me coming from. So I don't know if you know Tom Hornsey. He was a punter at Memphis. He's a Ray Guy Award winner. He's coached me along with the other coaches at Pro Kick, and we basically broke down my kicking right from the start and sort of started from scratch. So I think that sort of worked in a benefit that you couldn't get. You didn't have all these other external factors or habits that you sort of had to break, other than the ones I had from footy. But being able to go back to the start from scratch and just know that the the basic fundamentals from kicking in Aussie rules football were there, but I could pretty much only be taught from the best how to punt to get the best results from the start, which was a huge benefit.
Now, did you know anything about Ray Guy previously?
To be completely honest with you, I had never even heard of it. Obviously, he's a pretty big figure that we talk about a lot in Pro Kick, because obviously he's the
one to set the bar.
Yeah. So I've obviously learned a lot about him now, and huge respect. And I know that the Chappie and John Smith, the leaders of Pro Kick, they had a good relationship with him. So he gets talked about quite a lot.
That's awesome. That's actually really, really, really cool. So for those out there in cowboy country who don't know, this is where Mason Cox has become more famous. Now, I do have to ask, as you guys being Australian football fans, did y'all know that the big white guy from America was from Oklahoma State University, or he was the big white guy from America?
Yeah, no. Obviously, I think it depends on what scale of fan you are.
Okay.
But the genuine fans of football would know that because it is talked about quite a bit. And Mason and Cox actually has a podcast here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called the Mason Cox Show, and
That's
he's
awesome.
talked about his whole experience going through college and how how fun it was and how he would love after his career to implement a lot of things that come along with the culture of sport over in America into Australia. But yeah, he's sort of I don't like he's a controversial player in a sense because it's just there's never been anyone like him. He's
Okay.
the tallest player to ever play the game, and he's come over and there was one game that he absolutely dominated. It was a prelim final, so what we call a prelim final. It's the one to play to get into the grand
Okay.
final,
Okay.
which is your Super Bowl. And it was the two biggest clubs in the AFL were playing against each other. So there was like the whole country was sort of eyes on it, and the team that Mason was playing against was heavy favourites, and then he just came out and tore them to shreds and basically won the game
That's
off his
awesome.
own boot. And yeah, everyone's sort of known his story ever since.
That's really cool, man. That is really, really cool. Yeah, I remember when that whole thing was kind of going down, and he was making that transition to
Yeah,
go. I remember all of us in Oklahoma were like, "You're going to go play from playing basketball to Australian football."
yeah.
We thought it was kind of wild too, man.
It
But
is strange. But yeah, he's actually a citizen here now too, so
that's
he's loving it.
that is really, really cool. So
Yeah.
we've got a lot more to get into. But real quick, brother man, I do have to let the fine people out there know about our sponsor for the day, which again, the sponsor lineup, it makes life so much fun. But today we got to talk about Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting, news, stats, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season, basketball, World Cup, doesn't matter. Got you covered. If you like sports podcasts, we've got you covered there as well. We're always the fastest and the easiest way for you to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. Bet Online. It is where the game starts. Okay. All right. So, how many conversations had you had with Tom Hutton over the last year, I guess, while you were at Pro Kick?
Tom actually knew I was going to get an offer a long time before I did. So he was itching to message me, but he wasn't allowed to yet because I hadn't been told. So he said it was very frustrating for him because he just wanted to sort of reach out and congratulate me and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, as soon as I got the offer, I reckon I got a message from Tom less than 10 minutes later, and I've spoken to him a lot ever since. I'm probably annoying him because I've got 100 questions all the time, but yeah, he's been so good to sort of make me feel more comfortable and just give me a bit of an idea of what it's going to be like. And luckily enough, he's going to be there until May, so he's sort of going to be able to take me under his wing, if you like, and just sort of be there for me to lean on if need be. But yeah, he's been great, and Kelsey, his wife, has been really good as well. So no, very very lucky. But he's obviously made a good name for himself. So yeah, he's someone that I want to be a bit of a sponge around, just learn as much as I can.
So whenever it comes to the Pro Kick side of things, is it that universities reach out to Pro Kick and say, "Hey, we're looking to fill a spot. Do you have anybody?" Or do they target you specifically first and then call Pro Kick? How does that work?
So from my understanding, the college comes to Pro Kick and they say, "This is what we're looking for. Do you have anyone to fit the bill?" And Pro Kick would be like, "Yeah, this person's the best suited to your needs." obviously, Tom was well proven to be success. So so they've come back for another left footer. So that's worked out well for me.
Yeah, I'd say so. And we did talk about it a little bit on the space last night, but I wanted to ask again. So when did you start using an American football? Do they do all of that at Pro Kick, or is it like an evolutionary process to go from the Aussie rules football to the American football, or is it pretty easy to grasp?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot more intricate than you would think. I started using American football when I went to tryouts
Oh,
for
wow.
Pro Kick. So they just sort of throw you in the deep end, if you like. But a lot of people who would have been at tryouts had probably kicked one before. Like, I'd never even held an American football before in my life. So it did take a little while, but you sort of just get used to it, and you slowly make the transition. The American football has a lot smaller sweet spot, and it's a bit smaller and a lot more pointy than the Aussie rules ball. So there is a bit of an adjustment that you do have to make, and a little bit less margin for error kicking in the American football. But yeah, we basically, you're going to have to learn to kick the American football. So right from the start, that's all you kick with in the process. Yeah.
So with the Aussie rules football, you're kicking it and you're kind of trying to make it spin back towards you. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So you kick it. I think you guys call them end over end kicks, right? So they just spin backwards as they move towards the target. We do have spirals in Aussie rules, but it's not used very often because our kicks are being like, you're hitting like a line drive pass to someone. So a spiral doesn't always work because it's a little bit harder to hit a target with.
That's wild, man. Okay.
Yeah.
I dig. Well, there's an athleticism involved here as well, right? Because not that I'm not saying that the American punters aren't viewed as non-athletes, because typically a lot of them have to play a multitude of positions. But going from Australian rules football, I would imagine that getting mixed up in the bunch every now and again is not necessarily a bad thing in your eyes.
Yeah, for sure. And there's tackling and the physicality part is a massive part of Australian rules football. We don't have pads and helmets and stuff, but there's a lot more rules in what you can and can't do. Like, you can't hit above the shoulder, you can't hit below the knees, and all that sort of stuff. Right. So it's different sort of tackling, I guess. But yeah, the athleticism that's required to play Aussie rules football is pretty tough. I think you can run anywhere between 12 and 15 Ks a game. Kilometers. Well, I don't know what that is in miles, but
don't either.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of repeat efforts, sprints, and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, AFL is a very physical game. So yeah, it's not something that the Aussie punters are foreign to, if you like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I don't recall ever, and I'm 99.9% sure I never saw Tom Hutton run a fake punt. Is that some athleticism that we may be getting here? What's some Hudson action?
I would love to.
All
love to. That would be awesome. It's sort of one of those things that, if one day I do get an opportunity to do that, I'll take it on with as much effort as I can, because it's just adding another string to your bow, I guess. Yeah. Just being able to keep the opposition guessing, I guess.
How much Pat McAfee have you watched?
A bit. He's sort of someone that, I just try to consume as much as much content as I can to just learn about the game. And even just listening to your podcast, sometimes you just learn a lot of different the language that you guys use and all that sort of stuff, which has been huge. So Pat McAfee's another one who's been, I've tried to listen to as much as I can, and just sort of learn about the craft. And but he's a pretty straight shooter, so he's a pretty funny podcast as well.
Have you seen his highlight videos of him knocking people around?
Yeah, I have seen, and just some of his sort of trick plays and stuff. He was definitely a wild package.
He brought swagger to the punting position. I feel like that's fair, because even in college, he would do the golf swing thing when he'd hit one perfect. Yeah, man. He was fun to watch. And then the NFL, it is crazy though that for all the punting he did, he's more famous for blowing up return men running down the field, knocking them out in the sidelines. Like he's talked about the one he did with Trenton Holiday all the time. But he loves that stuff, man. And it was so fun to watch a punter that wanted to mix it up like everybody else, and he loved it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, looking forward to. Hopefully, I'm not in a position where the returner makes it back to me. But if he does, then I'm going to give him my best crack.
I love it. So, what are you most excited for, other than outside of football? Just coming to Oklahoma in general. What is the thing that maybe you wanted to do on your trip that you didn't get to? Whether it be hunting, fishing, horse riding, whatever.
Oh, that's a tough one. Obviously, there's a whole sort of like getting used to the lifestyle over there as a whole will be something that I'm really looking forward to. We were there for, I think we're on campus for 2 days, and just the everyone was so nice, and it was just such a nice vibe around the place. And it was homecoming weekend, so I was very lucky.
Oh, that's cool.
To be there that weekend. So yeah, there's a few things around that I'd love to sort of. I want to get into trying. The food over there is a little bit different, so that's something that I'm looking forward to, and try and just experience everything to the fullest before the season starts, really, because then I'm sure I won't really have time to do much during the season.
No, that is very true. How much did you know about Mike Gundy after you kind of got to hearing about Oklahoma State?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I obviously when I was doing my research after receiving the offer and stuff, obviously the first thing that comes up is that rant that we went on about the newspaper or whatever it was, and so that was my first impressions of him, and I was like, yeah, this guy doesn't muck around. Like he's the real deal. And ever since then, he's been able to build a reputation for with the resume that he's got that backs up what a good coach he's been, and you don't stay in the job for this long if you don't succeed. So he's definitely someone that earns the respect of everyone in the room, and you could just tell that just being over there, the amount of respect everyone's got for him, and it's obviously well deserved. So if I can just learn as much from him as I can while I'm over there as well, then that'll hold me in good stead.
The ironic part of it is the gentleman that the I'm 40, I'm a man speech.
Yeah.
The quarterback that he was sticking up for, that's Bobby Reed, who is our highest rated quarterback ever ever. Matter of fact, we just talked a little bit potentially about having him on the show coming up pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that'll be a fun little connection. I'm sure that I'm the man that I'm 40 thing gets something that it's talked about, right? 24/7. And it still is. And you are right. The consistent amount of success that Oklahoma State has had it's pretty rare. That's why there's only 10 of the top 10, right? And Oklahoma State's in that over the last decade in wins. How have you kind of viewed the championship thing, right? Because we've played so well. We've won so many games. Have you heard about we just got to knock the door down and win the daggone thing?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. You've had such prolonged success over a long period of time, but haven't quite got there. But there's so much. It's a lot more celebrated to have a good season, even if you don't quite make it in the States. In Australia with Aussie rules, just as a comparison to what I'm used to.
Right.
If you don't hold the cup up at the end, like if you're not the champions at the end, it's a fail. Like if you're the one who loses in the grand final, people might talk about you that season of having a good season, but no one looks back on it and thinks, that was a good season. It's a fail if you don't win the cup. So it's something that I'm looking forward to getting into that culture. And I think just from looking at the recruiting that we've done this season, I think we're building something and heading in the right direction of, from what I can gather with the knowledge that I have, it looks like we're going to be a really tough team to play against. So I'm looking forward to what we can do over the next couple of seasons, and hopefully we can finally get to the top of the hill.
Well, I think you're spot on, which is the show that I'm preparing for it right now, is to go over all of the recruits, every single one of them, right? And some people want to give us a hard time for it being not in the top 5 or whatever, but just like with you, when you're filling specific needs, it's not, you don't need to have a mass overhaul of the roster, right? When you only lose a few starters and you played so many freshmen, and then you have this level of class, not just the recruiting class, but the transfer class as well. It's just the needs that we're filling. I do firmly believe that we'll surprise some people pretty soon. Yes, the expectation is to play for a conference Big 12 championship. That is the expectation. We need to be there. But I definitely think that you are right. With the holes that we're filling and the needs that we're meeting, I do see us, again, knocking on that door within the next year or two. And if you're there for 4 years and you play for 3 of them, well, odds are you're probably going to win one, right? And I think with the talent we have coming in, we easily should.
No, that's the hope. And I think another thing, obviously with all the injuries that we had this season, the silver lining or the blessing in disguise to it is that we got a lot of games into some younger players. So that'll hopefully translate into a bit more experience on the field in the coming seasons, and might just be what we need to take it to the next level.
Well, that, and in today's age of transfer portal, there's teams that have 22, 26, 28, 30 guys leaving their program. So usually that's probably an indication that something's not going right? Whether it be locker room, coaching, whatever, something's not a fit. We didn't have that issue, right? We lost a few starters, but not really any of the big needs that didn't get met. And with you coming in, again, we fell in love with Tom Hutton over the years, especially in big games, because just the funky spin he puts on the ball. There's a very good possibility that the dude on the other end of the field is going to drop it or mishandle it. And obviously, so with that works very, very well, going to Pro Kick to find another. I think we're all on board. Do you think that this could potentially end up being something like a pipeline? Because for football, it's massive to have a pipeline, right? For example, Edmond Santa Fe, it's a high school in Edmond, Oklahoma, just like 35 minutes south there. And, they've got several guys they've sent to Oklahoma State, and a couple of them have moved on and done bigger and better things and got some looks in the NFL. So that's a high school that you expect the top guy to go to Oklahoma State. Do you
Yeah.
think maybe Pro Kick and a couple universities are getting close to having that kind of connection that every 4 years they're recyculating?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Pro Kick's growing as well, and I think the demand for Australian punters is growing.
Yes.
You know, you see Adam Corsack just won the Ray Guy, and I think there was 5 or 6 Ray Guy winners before that were Australian as well in the last however many years. So it's definitely the demand for it's growing, but Oklahoma State have a really good relationship with Pro Kick, and I think that's due to them, giving Tom Hutton a chance early on, and it's worked out for both parties.
Right.
So I think when they came knocking again, they Pro Kick wanted to give them give them the best chance to get another player on the roster. So yeah, luckily enough, that's how it's panned out for me, and hopefully we can keep the tradition going after I've left as well.
Yes. So are you coming to Stillwater, Oklahoma by yourself? Do you have some people coming with you? What do your parents think?
Yeah, so mum, dad, and my girlfriend all came on the visit, and they're all very excited. They loved it as well. It was just it was a bit of a whirlwind for the 2 days that we were there because so much happened. Obviously, it was homecoming, and
Right.
it was you sort of didn't have enough time to look at as many things as you wanted to. That's how big and busy the campus was, and so yeah, everyone's really excited. My girlfriend's heading over with me.
Oh, good.
So yeah, so we're really excited to start this next chapter.
That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So before we, I don't want to keep you too long. I know that the differentiation between time has been something we've kind of had to mess around with. And how dare you need to get sleep? Like, how selfish?
Yeah. Well, when you messaged me last night, it was like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh, I could get up and do it, but I'll probably look like a zombie. And but yeah, I just thought it's about 8:15 now in the morning, so we're sweet.
Not bad. See, it's mid-afternoon here. It's perfect
Yeah.
timing.
I've got all the time in the world now.
So do you have conversations with some of the recruits coming into the class, or is it pretty held to like a Tom communication style of thing?
I've not really anyone coming into the class. Like I don't know anyone, but I've just sort of friended them on social media over the last sort of day or so. So hopefully I'll reach out to them in the next couple of days and just sort of introduce myself, if you like. And
that's awesome
because it's going to be a interesting period for all of us, I guess, because most of them aren't from Oklahoma, so they're coming into a new environment as well, just like I am. It's just I'm coming from a bit further, so where any sort of network we can sort of build before touching base in campus will be beneficial. But there's a few players that I met from the special teams while I was over there that have sort of been keeping in contact with me, and so yeah, and Coach Fote has been really good at sort of keeping me informed at everything that's going on, and I can't wait to get over there and sink my teeth into it.
And the objective after your time at Oklahoma State University, do you want to obviously pursue the NFL, or would you like to go back to Australia and pursue the Mason Cox lifestyle?
No, the main goal will be to pursue the NFL, and I'm gonna do everything in my power from then until the next 4 years to try and make that a reality. Obviously, it's a a hard thing to do, but I'm very committed, and there's one thing you should know about me, as I'm one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet. So I can't wait for that challenge and to try and just get better every day until I can hopefully put my best foot forward for NFL.
Well, I can tell you, I feel like I speak fairly well for a lot of O State Nation in saying that we are very, very excited. And I think that you got to experience a little bit of it, but the inviting family atmosphere that Stillwater, Oklahoma is, it makes a transition like this fairly simplistic, right? Because if you're going from Australia to, let's just say, somewhere that's super chaotic, like Los Angeles or New York, I could only imagine how it just, I don't know, it makes things more stressful. And now you've got to weigh going back to the school, right? And you also have to weigh the football practices every day and the workout routines and nutrition and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that you got to kind of filter through. So being at a place where everybody's just naturally helpful, I think will help you flourish as well, brother man.
Yeah, no, well, I'm looking forward to it, and I just the whole vibe around Stillwater is just is something that I felt very, very welcome at the time, and so I hope that that'll continue and will make the transition for myself and Jordan very, very simple.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
So, okay. We got to take one more commercial break real quick, and then we'll be right back because I do have more questions for you, brother man. I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. All right. All right. So again, guys, Bet Online is something that you should all kind of check out. But while you're doing so, let's also take a moment to maybe do it on Sling TV. Sling TV is going to give you the most options when it comes to diagnosing the football side of things and really any sport you're looking at. There's a lot of competition, but who can say they sling it better than Sling TV? Nobody at the moment, which is why you should probably do your due diligence and go check them out right about after this. All right, Hudson. So one of the biggest questions I think I had, if you could, now knowing what you know about American football, if there was any other position, like if somebody said you cannot punt, you have to do this, what would it be?
Well, that's a tough one. Obviously, if I was any remotely good at passing the ball, I would obviously say quarterback. But we don't grow up playing baseball or anything, so throwing I'm pretty awful at, to be honest. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But I'd probably have to say wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think that would be the best suited to me. Being, catching the ball's like a massive part of footy over here. That would be probably what I would be best. Or maybe even a safety as well. I'm not too sure.
Well, I honestly, I thought you might lean safety because if you like hitting and you like aggression and you're super competitive, it seemed to be something that was somewhat up your alley. So what was the conversation like with your parents? Like, what was the first conversation like? Hey, I want to go to America and go back to school for years.
Well, initially it was just, I'm going to go do this tryout. I'm not really sure what it's all about, but we'll see how we go. And then, within 2 days, I got offered a spot in the Pro Kick Academy. And so I rang mum and dad, and I was like, my head was spinning a little bit because I was just like, all of a sudden I had to make a decision between footy and going down the Pro Kick route. And that's obviously a big decision to make when I've been, training my whole life to play Aussie rules football. So that was a big decision, but I just remember like mum and dad sort of just said, why not? Like, you don't want to look back on this and think I should have done this or I could have done that.
Right.
So, they've been a massive support as well, along with Jordan and all my sort of close network of friends. Have been extremely supportive of it all, and it's been a bit of an adjustment to sort of go down this path, but it's something that obviously I'm very, very thankful that I made that decision now.
That's awesome. So Jordan's obviously the girl who keeps you in line as much as physically possible. Yep. So are the women's sports in Australia comparable? Like there's very, very few selections, or they have?
So they've got they've got AFLW, which is the Aussie rules for females. That's only sort of the professional level of it is only sort of just taken off in the last 10 years.
Okay.
But
cool.
that's growing rapidly. But do you know? So we have netball. Do you know what netball is?
Nope.
So it's kind of like basketball, but there's no backboard and you can't run with the ball. That's played all through the Commonwealth. So it's played a lot in England and all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
And so netball's the main one. So every football club in Australia has an affiliated netball team.
That's
so
crazy.
it's you go down to the footy on a Sunday at your local town, and there's the footy and the netball going on at the same time.
That's cool,
so Jordan plays netball, but she's going to have to grasp something else, I think, because there's no netball over there. So she might have to take up basketball or volleyball or something like that.
Well, I was going to say basketball with having a backboard. I mean, it may make it a little easier, right?
Yeah,
you would think.
Yeah, it's just the dribbling that she's going to have to get used to.
Well, it's if she's got hand-eye coordination, should be fine. Should be fine. Exactly. Yeah, man, that's really, really, really cool. Now, is there anything you would like to tell the people of the world about your journey to Oklahoma State, or what's a fun fact we should know about Hudson Kaak?
A fun fact. That's a tough one. As I said, I'm extremely competitive to the point where I won't let my little brother beat me at something because it'll just keep me up at night.
Okay.
it's almost an issue. Jordan and my mates are always like, "Oh, do you have to just try and win everything? Can't you just play a casual game of something?" I'm just like, "No, I can't because I only know one way, and that's 100%. So sometimes it's a bit of a issue because I can I can take things a bit too seriously, but at the most part, it's probably the reason I've been able to get to where I am today. Because if I'm not the best at something, I'll work pretty hard until I am.
Man, I wish we could just bottle that up and feed it to every football player in the United States of America. That would be nice, honest to God's truth. Because I think you're right. I think that the competitive level that you have, it allows you to, perfect your craft, right? Like if you do something and you lose and it doesn't bother you, then it probably shouldn't be something you do. And so do you know what Monopoly is, right? You know what that is? That's a worldwide game, right?
Yeah.
We can't play Monopoly here because everybody's too competitive. There's only one kid that was just like, you know what, it's okay. Everybody else in the family, it's just Monopoly doesn't work because we're just too daggone competitive.
Yeah, no, it would work if I was winning, but if it wasn't, I'd just be like, that's one of those things.
You can't have an 8-year-old beat you. Come on, man.
Why
do you think I decided that we can't play this game anymore?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things. Once you're broke, and you're out. So, Monopoly, I can find either very fun or very frustrating.
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
frustratingly fun, maybe.
Yep.
So you are heading here around January 10th. Is that still kind of the idea?
Yeah. So Jan 10th, and then I think orientation classes start on the 12th. So looking forward to getting into the swing of things and meeting all the new people and hopefully I'm really looking forward to getting in with Coach Glass.
Yes.
And being able to develop in every way possible. And I've only heard good things and the way that he can work with athletes. And I'm looking forward to what I can achieve along with him.
Yeah, he's a legend. I mean, if you go around campus and you talk to people who other than Gundy has kind of, been here this long and accomplished, X amount, it's Rob Glass. There's a reason he is the only strength coach in the United States of America that gets paid over $1 million. There's a reason.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's that good, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. Well, Oklahoma State has kind of been famous for not always getting the big 5-star fancy name, right? We're famous for getting, the guy who went to a small school that nobody really knew about. Comes to Oklahoma State, Rob Glass gets a hold of him. Now all of a sudden he's benching 550 and he can run a 4.540 and he goes to the NFL. Like that, legitimately speaking, that's really how we've kind of ascended. And that's why Gundy made sure that Glass gets that amount of money, because Gundy is very well aware without Rob Glass building up just, I don't want to say average, but what people view as average players and then making them great players.
Yeah.
I'm sure for you, like as a punter that is very competitive, that has a lot of aspirations, that's got to be something that's very, very exciting.
Yeah, no, it is very exciting, and just being in that professional environment and being able to, use it all to my advantage and to hopefully, take what I can do to the next level. That's something that really excites me. I'm not someone who's, as I said, I'm pretty raw with it all. So like it'll be a bit of a transition, but I think that I can, take big strides. Hopefully, once I am in that environment, and I can sort of wrap my head around it.
Yeah, make it all make sense. If the more it makes sense, the easier it's going to become. That's just common knowledge, right? The more you know about something, the better you're going to be at it. And when you already come with a significant amount of talent, it does make that learning curve probably a little bit smaller. Because just like you said, if everybody in Australia could be an American punter and go play in the NFL, they would.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just some people are built different. Some people do things differently. And clearly you view things with a lens of work ethic, which I think is what's going to make you fit in the best here.
Yeah, no, I think that sort of stemmed from, footy over here, and you put in a lot of effort doing pre-seasons and all that sort of stuff over here to make yourself the best you can be, and I think a lot of that will just transition over to working hard to put yourself in the best position to take on, and obviously coming into a team where Logan Ward has been very serviceable after Tom's gone. I'm not going to just walk in and take the top job straight away. I want to get in there and work hard and put my best foot forward to give myself the best chance to be that number one punter. But it's just about earning the respect from your teammates as well. I feel if you go in with the right attitude and work hard, I think your teammates will respect you a lot quicker.
Well, 100%, right? That when teammates see somebody that's willing to push it to the max, they respect that, right? Because these dudes have run thousands and thousands of stadium stairs, right? They have, they put in the battles, and they just want to make sure that whoever comes in is willing to do the same thing. So I think, again, you're going to fit in very, very well, and it's not going to take you any time at all.
Yeah, no, well, hopefully, and we'll see how it goes. I'm very excited.
Are you going to be able to watch the bowl game from Australia?
Yeah, I'll be able to watch it. You can we've got you can stream it through our sort of sporting channels over here.
Okay.
So yeah, they play like during the season. They only play like the top 2 or 3 games from the weekend. But there's also like streaming sites and all that sort of stuff that we can log into, like ESPN Plus and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be able to tune in, and I'll be watching with a keen eye to see how it all goes with the likes of Mason Cobb and all that not being out there. It'll be interesting to see how we can sort of fill those gaps before all the transfers can't play, can they? Or they can?
No, they can't play. They can attend, but they can't play.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how we sort of fill those voids, without those transfers out there. And then I think hopefully we can get a win, and it'll take us with good momentum into next season.
I agree completely. And you are right. We're missing some pieces, but instead of, and this is the beauty of a bowl game, it can either be the last game of the season, or depending on where you're at, it can be the first game beginning the new slate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a lot of us aren't viewing it as the last game of the season, like most bowl games are. I think a lot of people are pretty excited about the future and what we do have coming, especially with all of the youth. So, yeah, I think by and large, it's more viewed as okay, let's see what we have, because this is going to be a lot of the dudes we're going to be rolling with. So if we do, if we take out, because Wisconsin's a lot like Oklahoma State, right? They win a lot every single year. They're always a winning program. And it's a comparable brand. I think Oklahoma State, I know we've had far more success, but Wisconsin has been a big dog for a while now. So yeah, man, it'll be a good one. I'm glad you'll be able to catch it.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully we can sort of take a scalp and move into the next season firing away, and everyone's itching to start again next season. But I'm sure regardless, with the fresh group of people coming in, and the ones that are staying are obviously very committed to the program, so right. I don't think motivation will be an issue.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Well, brother, I greatly appreciate it. I know we've been trying to work this out for a little bit here, so I greatly appreciate your time. I know all of us are very, very excited to have you. I think it's wonderful that Tom is going to be able to help you kind of learn the ropes in the beginning. I think that's going to be massively beneficial. We all can't wait to meet Jordan, because behind every strong man, there's always a pretty badass woman, right? That's just a fact of life. It's a fact of life.
For sure. Yeah, right, she's very excited.
So let the fine folks out there know how can they follow along with your progression, and how could they potentially get a hold of you? Because in the NIL era, right, you are going to have you're going to have some interest. I guarantee you that. Right? Just point blank, just because of the backstory and how talented you must be to be able to be in that pro kick scenario. So is it imperative that sometimes people need to be able to get a hold of you? So holler at the people.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Huddo10, so HUDO10. And you can find me on Twitter at just Hudson Kaak.
Too easy.
So, yeah.
All righty, Hudson. Well, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you very, very, very much. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun transition over the next few years. And the smash mouth, aggressive, intense class that this is going to be the catalyst, I think, for some of the bigger success, right? We've had a lot of success. We've got to take that next leap. And I feel like we've got the dudes to make that happen in the next few years. So thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for your time, sir. If you have anything else to say, now's the time, because it's time for everybody out there. Say hello to our newest punter from down under, Hudson Kaak. Hudson, say goodbye to the people.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to see you all and see what we can do over the next few years. So thanks.
I love it, brother. I absolutely love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you ask and you shall receive. Tom Hutton did a lot of amazing things for us, and we want to run it back. Logan Ward, you've got your place, sir, but you got to have people constantly pushing to make you better, and I think we've got that here. So everybody in Cowboy Country, as always, I love you all. God bless. Go Pokes, and we will do this again here in a little bit. Actually, we got a lot coming. Later, y'all.